cannot walk in these heels. I only wore them because I was like, we're sitting, so I'll be fine. And then on the walk here, I was like...
I cheated. I always cheat. Yes. If I don't have to wear stiletto, I go platform.
Those are the best.
Yeah, because it's you get the height, but your feet aren't like, why are you on stilts? Yeah.
Right. It's about the angle.
It's the angle.
Yeah, because like this is a crazy angle.
That's what I almost wore out here today. And then I was like, no, girl, I'm almost 40. Yeah, I don't have to do that anymore.
I don't
They don't
want to
pay
do
enough
it
for
anymore.
that.
Yeah,
it's like so hard.
I can do it if I
do
don't
you dance in those?
No way.
Oh, okay. Because I saw you. We were at the same radio show doing something one time. This was like years ago, and I was like, oh my God. Well, you were dancing in some heels.
I probably went through a phase where I was like, let me push myself. Because, you know, like I want to like, I like looking taller and like the whole thing. But
you do feel sexy in a stiletto.
You do, totally. And your posture too. Because I have like really bad posture. So sometimes I'm like, I'm either like this on stage,
it's always my butt. So,
like this.
Or my gut, because I'm breathing like a singer. And it looks really good.
Like a human.
Yeah. I know. That's always like, suck it in, but I can't.
Yeah, totally.
Wait, but I heard you just got your driver's license.
I did.
That's amazing. Were you afraid to get yours? I was a little afraid to get mine because I was afraid of other drivers.
Right. I was afraid of myself. I mean, I think my mom was so afraid for me. Like, she was just like, you are too distracted. There's too much Pisces energy to be on the highway. And so I was like, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But then I was like, I think I spent so much time like feeling like I was like really, really young. And then I think the like me getting my driver's license was part of me being like, you know, I trust myself.
I'm a grown woman.
I'm a grown-ass woman.
Yeah.
I can do
Watch
this.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't ever me. I was always afraid of other drivers and like big highways with like mixed masters. I was like, bridges, I don't think I breathed.
I'm still scared of highways though. Like I drove here and every time I drive on the highway, I'm like, you know how like on the maps, it's like, the option without the highways, and then I'm always like, damn, it's like twice as long. But the whole time I'm on the highway, my butt is clenched. I'm like, today is the day I'm gonna die. Today's the day.
You did it. You made it.
Yeah.
We're proud of you. So wait, did you have bad dreams about driving? I heard that you had some bad dreams.
Yeah.
What were your dreams? You just wrecked?
My dreams were always that I was in a car. The car was going really, really fast, but I didn't know what the Prindle was. I didn't know what the buttons were on the car, so I didn't know how to work a car.
What did you just say?
The Prindle? The Prindle, you know, from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
The Prindle?
Where Mr. Mosby is like teaching London Tipton how to drive, and he's like, the Prindle.
We just discovered our age difference just now. I was like, wait, what the hell's a Prindle?
What were your shows that you watched?
Saved by the Bell, ma'am. Yeah, like I was young for Saved by the Bell, but yes, that was, yeah.
Yeah, mine was Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, like That's So Raven. Anyway, so.
Okay. I know That's So Raven. I know that one. Okay.
So anyway, so he calls it the Prindle, and then, no, she calls it the Prindle, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, would you like to listen to M or like AM or FM?
Yeah.
He makes fun of her. But anyway, so I had this recurring nightmare that I was driving really fast. I didn't know how to brake. I didn't know how to do anything. And so I was like,
loss of control.
There's only one way to stop this.
Yeah.
Learning how to drive.
You got to learn how to drive.
Yeah, totally. Loss of control. That's probably what that means, right?
I always feel like, I feel like all of my dreams mean
something.
Loss of control.
What does it mean when you like lose your teeth in a dream?
I think isn't that also loss of control? Like you feel like you have no control over.
I guess I always feel out of control.
I think everything is loss of control. This is my dream book.
Right.
The new album is called Familia. So tell us about it and why you named it that.
Well, I think that, you know, at the beginning of this album, I was having such a hard time, like mental health wise. I just had like
a lot of us the last 2 years especially.
Totally. I think for me it started even before the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, then the last 2 years didn't help.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was like kind of just like, I think just crippling anxiety that was really hard for me. And I feel like because I was in that place, I isolated a lot, and I felt like I wasn't really, I don't know, I felt like, I wrote this line in my album, Thank Yous, but I felt like I almost needed to be kind of healed or in a better place before I let myself be seen or let myself hang out with people and be vulnerable and be myself. Yeah. And I feel like this album...
I relate to that.
Yeah. And I feel like this album to me was me being like, really trusting people, starting with, you know, obviously it's about like my actual real family and like the roots of that, but also I feel like the kind of family that I made while making this album. And opening myself up to friendships and community, and even with my collaborators in the studio, like being vulnerable about what I was feeling. And
you're very vulnerable. I heard you allow them to like read like your like journal and stuff. You let them read stuff, right?
Well, I wouldn't be like, you know, you have access to my diary.
Oh God, because I'm like, nope.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I would like at the beginning every day, I would like write in a journal, and then I would just like read it to Scott, and then we'd be like, oh, that's a cool line. Like I feel like we could, you know, write a song based on this lyric or whatever. So the whole thing for me was really like, I need to be real and vulnerable with the people, like while I'm in the studio, because sometimes I felt like even being in the studio, like it felt sometimes performative for me. Like I want to prove that I'm a good writer. I want to prove that I'm good. And this time for me was all about, you know, Scott, here's like
where I'm at.
The worst part of like where my thoughts go.
Yeah.
And I feel like that made like my favorite music that I've made. And also I feel like my collaborators became like my brothers in the studio, and starting to be open with people, like with the collaborators and like in the studio process, extended its way into my real life, where suddenly I was like, oh, I could be like really anxious and still hang out with my friend and just tell them about my anxiety instead of being like, let me cancel because...
Well, because they're not rolling in perfect either.
No.
They probably got their own baggage,
And I felt like in my mind, maybe it's because I was young, I felt like everybody just did have it more together than I did.
Yeah. I think everyone goes through that. We all feel that,
And then you grow up and you're like, everybody up.
Everyone is screwed.
Yeah.
It's like we're all in therapy.
Yeah. Totally.
So wait, so you had, you know, huge Latin hits, but then you moved away from Latin music for a while. Now you're kind of back. You said a couple years ago you're now back. So is it kind of, does it feel good? Because those are your roots, and it's kind of, I feel like something that's super special about you too. Like, because you can do all these different things in different genres, but it is something I get excited about seeing whenever you perform. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be fun.
Right.
Like, and and it's going to be beautiful and passionate. And I feel like that's what Latin music kind of brings to the table a lot of times, is like passion and vulnerability and all of that. And so was it exciting to kind of make this album like that? Yeah,
I mean, I think like at the beginning, I was so almost, after Havana, for example, which Havana came about in such an organic way. And then after, when that had a lot of success, I felt like when I would go in with kind of like American producers and writers, they were just like, here's Havana version 5, and here's Havana version 6.
Since You've Been Gone 2.0, they'd always try and give me that. It was super fun.
Yeah, and it's like, this is very obvious, first of all. And two, I felt like it just felt not authentic. It felt like they were kind of putting me...
You're chasing it.
...in this box, and chasing it and putting me in this box because it was successful. And so I was like, you know, I think subconsciously I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I think this album came around, and in working with Ricky Reed and Scott Harris, Ricky introduced me to like this man named Cheche and this writer named Edgar Barrera, and they're like actually like Latin. One is from Argentina and one is from Mexico, and so actually, actually being in those sessions and being able to be like, okay, what kind of songs should we write today? And then me pulling up a playlist of like Alejandro Fernandez, Alejandro Sanz, Celia Cruz, and like...
It's inspiring.
Yeah, and for other people to be like, oh yeah, and did you ever hear that one? Like, it just made it, and be able to speak Spanish in the studio. And
it felt authentic.
It felt authentic. It didn't feel like somebody was just kind of like money grab vibes.
Yeah,
like
this was a hit, so
totally. I was like, so long, I was like, this doesn't feel right. And now I think it organically went to a place where I was like, oh, this feels right for me. This feels like I'm, you know, getting to speak my first language in the studio. I'm getting to like, you know, be with my people. I'm getting to like, explore that in a genuine way. So that made me really excited about this album too.
I think you're so transparent in the best of ways. So I think that's good. You have to like stick true to like where you are in the moment. But thank you for coming to our show.